Welcome to a Celtic State of Mind's Daily Bulletin. I'm Paul John Dykes and I will be joined by Jim Simonette very shortly to discuss the transfer rumours flying around Celtic Park at this moment in time. I've asked the question, do Celtic still need a centre-half? And if so, who should we buy? And that is what we're going to be talking about today. Please make your comments and suggestions, ask your questions via YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. First comment comes in from Jason Christie. How are yous, boys? We're very well, Jason. Thanks for joining us again. Unfortunately, if you make a comment on Twitter, then we can't see it on the screen. So what we'll need to do is check on the Twitter page and then obviously read it out. So I'll be looking at my phone from time to time to do that. And we will be going live. As I say, we'll be going live in just a few moments' time. And I'll see you soon. Welcome back, Jim Simonette.
Hiya, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just explaining there that if you do make a comment on Twitter and it's not via Periscope, then it doesn't appear up on the screen. So I will be checking my phone sporadically as we go through our daily bulletin, Jim. We're talking new signings. We're talking a centre-half. We've been discussing that over the last few weeks on the podcast. And, you know, make your suggestions, throw in some names. We've had a few coming through on Twitter, one of whom is Filip Benkovic. I keep banging the drum about Benkovic. Is he a player, Jim, that you think, because we know how he performs, he knows the club, bring him in?
Yeah, we know him, and quite like the way he played, so hopefully that if he does come back, then he can pick up where he left off and improve as he goes as well.
First comment coming through, there you are, 1888. Thanks for getting involved via Twitter. And yes, we need a left-sided centre-half, maybe Shane Duffy, decent player, goal threat. And, you know, when you think about Shane Duffy, he's actually been linked to Celtic in the past. There are a lot of big names flying about, which obviously Celtic will already have a shortlist written up, Jim. And Neil Lennon gave a good indication just yesterday that he definitely is in the market for a centre-half.
Aye, Celtic will have their hit list, but what you'll find as well, Paul, is that there'll be players getting promoted from left, right, centre, all over the place at this particular time, with obviously the representatives looking for them to make a signing to another club such as Celtic. So I think you're going to get that there'll be numerous people in the next 4 weeks all connected with Celtic.
You will get a lot of names, as you say, being connected to ourselves, Jim, and they know that Celtic have got money and we're in the market for a centre-half, but we just need to trust that Neil Lennon has the shortlist. One boy who may well be on it is Pinnock from Brentford. Thank you, Johnny Kerr, 31, decent age, athletic and left-sided. What do you think, anyone who's tuning in? Who do you want to see coming in as a centre-half for Celtic? I'll read through some of the suggestions on our Twitter page. Gazzarino also agrees that we should take Benkovic back in on loan.
Yeah.
If not an option, then certainly a left-sided centre-half. No projects though. Someone 26 to 29, an accomplished operator. I think when you look at the age of Julian, when he's coming in, he's an established player. He's cost £67 million. That's the type that we'll be looking for, I would hope, Jim.
Yeah, definitely. But listen, you can still get a player that's probably not got an actual real value on him as well, which could be a real steal. And then again, I know you and I go on about it, Paul, that Celtic again will give them a platform and it'll escalate the price. I mean, it's a proven record that when some of these players have been coming at lower prices, once they start playing for Celtic and they start performing, the price of them just shoots straight up.
Yeah, it does. It certainly does. Jabba Boy on Twitter is suggesting that we go for Jan Vertonghen on a free transfer. Obviously, last playing for Spurs, he's got over 100 caps for Belgium. He's the experience that, you know, he would fit straight into the team. And you're looking also to sign a loan player according to San Fran Celtic with an option to buy. It allows for a better quality player, and we don't need to pay out for a year or so if it works out. So I would agree with that. You know, bringing people in on loan, it works for Celtic, and hopefully we can get a deal done very, very soon. What we'll also be discussing is the forthcoming tie against Kilmarnock on Sunday. That's a game that we will be covering live from 30 minutes before kick-off until 30 minutes after kick-off. We'll be looking at the team news and how the last couple of days might have affected that in relation to Lee Griffiths. And Facebook user Benkovic didn't play as many games as people think in his last loan move. When Lenny came in, he hardly featured in the treble running.
Many did he have before that, Paul? Do you know?
He was injured. This was the problem. He was injured prior to Neil Lennon coming in, and I think Lennon basically made a decision that he wasn't going to be playing the loan players who had come in because he was planning already for the following season.
Obviously, and he was proven to be right in that decision as well. But Paul, I would like to think that we've got some other young players there as well that we could possibly bring in to the pool of 19 players that's round about the 19, 20 years of age that's been doing well. And if the results go the way that we're hoping that they're going to be in the first third of the season, maybe Neil would bring the type of players in as well that's just sitting in the periphery, just hopefully ready to come in. Because even I think the young players will be bursting the door down because of the season that it is as well.
Oh, definitely. And the young guy who's had first team experience is Stephen Welsh. He went out to Morton, did well on the loan spell, came in, made his debut at centre half. And again, we have spoken on the podcast suggesting that it's maybe not the best time for a youngster to come in. But as you say, they're going to be wanting games as well. You can't just write off the entire season for all the young players, Jim.
Not at all, but we don't want to really gamble with the young players. But I think what I'm trying to say is if there's such a game that they fit into the 19 squad and we are well ahead in that game, that could be the time to bring those young players on, knowing that we're way ahead in the game and the game is comfortable for us.
You know, when you look at some of the centre half Celtic have had in on loan, Jason Denayer, and Philip Benkovic, that's the kind of quality that you would hope that we're looking at. Because I think Julien is the classic example. We kind of got lucky with Ayer. We didn't expect him to be reverted to a centre half. He came in as a midfield player, but you look at the way that Julien has adapted to the Scottish game, and he's been one of our star players.
He certainly has adapted, and you know, you look at the way that he commands that area. And he's starting to look even cooler on the ball. I mean, you look at a Virgil van Dijk down in that English league, he just looks so cool. He looks good all the time. And he seems to slow the game down, but it's still going at a pace. But he makes it look good, and he makes it look simple. But that's the real class that he's got. I mean, and also to think that this is for the platform for other players. If you look at Big Virgil there as well, when he was here, he developed, and then he goes down south, and then he's up for the Ballon d'Or. I mean, I know it's fantastic transition as well. So if we could attract players, when they get all this different type of knowledge and what's happened when they've been here, and then going on to the next step, whatever they take. Celtic's a great platform, but not to encourage is just to sell players for the sake of selling them. We want to keep these players as long as we can.
It's a balance, Jim, because I think it's great because it's an attractive proposition to a young player coming to Scotland because they're looking at the success of Dembele, Van Dijk, Wanyama, and the list goes on. But it would be good every now and again if we didn't have this 3-year policy of developing them and then packaging them up. Because if you look at some of the players we've had over the last 7 or 8 years, we would have had a sterling chance progression in European football. The guys I've already mentioned there, put them in the team that we currently have, and that's a frightening proposition.
It certainly is. And maybe some of the listeners and viewers would maybe like to put a team together for those type of players. over the last 9 years, what they think has been a team, an individuals that's been on and performed elsewhere and done great. So that'd be quite an interesting wee shout, that.
Absolutely. Make your suggestions what a team it would be. The team of the 9 in a row era. Declan McConville, welcome back, Declan.
Yep,
we
Declan.
had a wee question or two from you yesterday. We can see your YouTube picture there with Billy Connolly. I think you bumped into him in Stirling that day before coming to the studio to record A Celtic State of Mind. Would Porteous from Hibs be a shout? I think, again, Celtic fans are looking for big names, but sometimes there are players on your doorstep, and there's nothing wrong with looking at the local markets within Scotland. It's something that we were discussing yesterday. I mean, well done to Rabin Omar, who got a great move to Morton, who obviously was a graduate of the Jimmy Johnston Academy. He went and he earned his spurs at Annan and Elgin, and he's now got a brilliant move. So there is young talent in Scotland as well.
Oh, there's lots of young talent here in Scotland, and the secret is helping them to develop and nurturing them along the way. But if you look at a young Rabin Omar, there he was in two divisions lower, and he's jumped up. But that's because of the hard work and the willingness and the determination that young guy's put in, and guidance. He's had a lot of guidance as well, and he's listened to good people. He's listened when he needed a wee bit of extra fitness. He come along, and Joycey, he done the one-on-ones with him, with Kenny, assisted by young Mark there. It was great, and the boys showed it determined and a willingness. So well done to him. But the story that you're the question that you're asking, and the story is, yes, there is plenty of young talent out there.
Oh, definitely. And again, I mentioned it on last night's podcast. If you've not listened to it, we spoke to Stevie Chalmers, whose Papa scored the famous winning goal against Inter Milan in 1967. But we were talking about the attitude of a player like Rabin Omar. On the day that he got unveiled as a new signing, he's travelled back from Greenock to Cathkin Park for an extra training session.
Aye.
In the rain.
And it didn't matter.
Of his own choice,
Correct. And
great attitude.
Great attitude, Paul. But with these type of players, and all professional players, there's no rain, there's no sunshine. You come and you train in whatever the conditions are, and you work, and you have the mentality the same as well, where it's raining, gale force winds or whatever. You've got to get that in. But how good was that he actually came back and done another session with the guys?
Excellent. That was brilliant. We have another suggestion from Facebook. Your name's not showing up. You've got to go through a sign-up process if you're using Facebook for your name and picture to show. But this Facebook user is suggesting that we develop Big Welshie, and he's a young guy that we did speak about earlier on, Jim. So sharing the sentiments there. Graffiti W, you've got to be looking at someone similar to Julien, both in ability and characteristics. I think that's the level we need to be at if we want to progress, beyond the 10 in a row of next season, should we win that. And I'm not taking it for granted. You've got to be looking at building your next team, for a European adventure, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. But the thing is, Paul, and I know that we're saying that the goal is 10 in a row, but we're not taking anything we're not taking anything at all just to say, right, we're going to do it. We've got to work at it. We've got to have this special togetherness this season. And it was funny, young Stevie saying as well that nothing's taken for granted. Everybody's got to work for this.
Absolutely. Jason Christie, thanks for your comments and getting involved. He disagrees with Declan McConville, saying that Porteous is not Celtic material. There's certainly players out there who you can mould and you can develop at Celtic Park, So it's an interesting point, but I don't think that's one that would get the Celtic support excited at this moment in time, Jim.
No.
Kevin Graham, welcome back. Kevin, Benkovic didn't want to be here in the first time. Chances of him coming back are slim, hence the reason that Lennon didn't play him. Well, if he didn't want to be here, I only want Celtic players who want to play for the club.
Correct, and this is what we spoke about the other day there as well, Paul. We can't have any indecisiveness at all. Mm-hmm. It must be a decision. I want to play. I want to work to keep my place in this team. I want to help make history.
Thank you again for the comment from Graffiti,
Yeah.
who reckons that the Europa League isn't beyond Celtic. It's there for the taking if we show a willingness to create a team and hold on to it. And I think when you do look at the players, individual players, Jim, that we've had over the last 9 years in this miraculous run, we have got a team that could win a tournament like that.
We have. But the focus, regardless of anything else that's going on out there, is to win 10 league championships. If we do well in Europe, then great. If we don't, the whole focus. Actually, I'm not too bothered if we do well in Europe this season. I'm going to really keep sticking my neck out and say, I want 10 in a row.
That's the bread and butter. We were, again, speaking about this on last night's podcast with Stevie Chalmers, Jim, because we looked at the Copenhagen tie, quarter-final of the Europa League, and it looks like an exciting kind of tie against Manchester United. And on the one hand, you're thinking it would be great if we were involved in that, but then on the other hand, you think, well, it would actually just be a distraction this season, wouldn't it?
It would be, because it would still be where are we going to go, what we're going to do. We're still in this epidemic. We're going to go there. What happens if we come back and some of the players fall to the COVID? I would rather the players at this time are professional in how they go about their business and keep safe and look after themselves and their families, obviously. First and foremost, and the football comes next. But at this time, where we're going, I wouldn't like to be in that position in a strange way. I'm happy the position that we're in to go and concentrate in the league.
Oh, definitely. And we will come back to the COVID. You've raised the point there, Jim. There's a few wee points for discussion. Let's talk with the people who are tuning in about, obviously, the situation at Aberdeen. Should that club be punished as a result of the fact that, obviously, a game, at least one game, isn't going to get played? And also, the Lee Griffiths images that have appeared online, Neil Lennon coming out and obviously reminding everybody about the responsibilities of the football players. So he, I quote, home training, home games is his mantra in relation to the COVID.
And he's right.
You know, so what's your thoughts? Is it another thing to actually hit Lee Griffiths with? Because I think he's been hit enough. I think it's one of these things that, you know, I would much rather he was back in the squad on Sunday, Jim. Is this going to affect Neil Lennon's decision, do you think?
I think so, because I mean, I'm a great admirer of Lee Griffiths, and unfortunately he's been at a family party on social media that's coming out. He's not thinking anything bad. Maybe he's just got to think a wee bit more, going, this is going out on social media, this is going to harm. I need to look after myself and keep yourself safe.
You know, when it comes to footballers, Jim, and you deal with a lot of young footballers, and they're moving into a world that was unknown even in my time 25 years ago, whereby you're a brand as a footballer, you've got social media platforms, you've got a presence. In a situation like this, I would be of the mind to say, you know what, delete all your social media. Just come off it completely. You need to focus on the football.
I mean, that's a no bad idea for every one of them for this season.
I think so.
No social media.
Come off it. Let the club do all the social media channels. Come off it completely.
Absolutely.
And stick to the football. Now, Jed Sweeney has suggested that John Stone from Man City would be a good option on loan, or is he out of our league? I don't think anyone's out of our league, but hey, I'm old-fashioned in that respect. Let me know your thoughts, everybody who's tuning in. Thanks for tuning in via YouTube, Twitter and Facebook. And we've got... Okay, so Facebook user, yes, Gary Doonan is the Facebook user, can't get the name up. Gary, welcome, and Gary has been a long-time supporter of quite a bit of the work that I've done Celtic related. So Gary, welcome, and hopefully we can get you on the show as well for a wee chat about what it is you do. So, well done, thank you very much, and we're looking at the technology Jim, you're the tech guy. You're the guy that can fix things and set them up. So well done over the last couple of weeks, because obviously we're now streaming live and it looks as though we're doing it without any interference. All the other mics and phones
Paul,
and laptops are switched off, and I'm touching wood here.
Aye, definitely.
All about the 10, says Jed Sweeney. Be water, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. Aye.
You want to elaborate on that and let our listeners and our viewers...
Be water, just flow, go along, and you can, water flows. So you as an individual, you go and flow with it. Never be rigid. Oh, it's a long road, it doesn't bend. Bend with the road as well, and go out with the tide, come in with the tide, and various things like that. But there's a whole other meaning behind that slogan. I didn't know I actually had that in the front of me there. I forgot all about it, going on the camera here.
Brilliant. Jason Christie, what about King from Leicester? He's maybe 33, but I think he would be a great signing for this season. Well, what do you think, guys and girls who are logging in and joining us for the live Daily Bulletin? Kevin Graham. Lennon said yesterday that he was unavailable. Are you speaking about Lee Griffiths there, Kevin? I think already getting that in there, that Lee Griffiths will be unavailable for the weekend is one of the changes I would have made to the lineup.
Aye, so it's quite interesting that a comment coming for Kevin there, because in the 19, I've actually at this particular time only got 18.
Right.
With Griffiths, I've got a question mark, but he's not in the 9. So there you go. So there's a space. And who would I put in for that 9th man? Maybe the listeners and the viewers could maybe put a few suggestions towards you, Paul, who we could maybe put in the squad as a 9th player or part of the 9.
Absolutely. One guy who won't be on the bench or in the squad is Bayo. We've been speaking about him. We've not been criticising him. We've been speaking about getting him out either on loan or on a permanent deal elsewhere. And that's what's happened. So yesterday he signed for Toulouse. Best move for everybody involved.
Absolutely. And good luck to him.
And you know, when you're looking at the £2 to £2.5 million strikers that we've signed over the last 10, 15 years, there's been a whole group of them. Very rarely does it work, unfortunately.
Listen, it doesn't work for everybody. And when they go away, hopefully when they go to their new club, they're better players and they're wiser about their trade.
Absolutely. The one point I've made a couple of times, Jim, is why or how can we not produce our own goal scoring striker? You look at the youngsters coming through, and obviously McGregor and Forrest are established and pivotal members of that side that come through the academy. But it's been some time since we brought through a prolific striker, isn't it?
Aye, well, you're looking at Celtic all through the history, through the years. I've always had strikers, because we're an attacking club, we're an attacking team. We like to attack. So where has it dried up? I think the last real strikers, what do you think, Paul? Back to, you've got Charlie Nicholas.
Charlie Nick.
You've got Craney.
Yes. I think Burchell showed promise, but it was short-lived.
Very short-lived. Who else homegrown in there? Actually, I'm finding
You're struggling.
I'm struggling.
You know, and it's something, as you say, that Celtic were famed for.
But now you asked me the question, I'll need to go and check on that.
Yeah, why can't we produce a goal-scoring striker? And I know some people might say, well, Jack Aitchison did okay for a spell last season. I don't think he'll be in the plans this season.
No, but okay's not good enough, because if you look when Nicholas was younger and Craney was younger, they were in there, they were bursting the door down.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't matter their age, Paul.
No, it didn't. I mean, Nicholas was dynamite, wasn't he?
Right, he's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant.
And Jerry Craney sometimes gets a bit of stick from Celtic supporters. We spoke to his cousin, Gary John Kane, just last week. If you've not heard the podcast, give it a listen. We premiered a song that was written for Celtic Centenary and never released. So we premiered that last week on the podcast. Give it a listen. Keep the comments coming in. We've got one from Colette Prunty, who wants invited onto Celtic TV, and if you are up for getting involved with match day live bulletins and live streams, then give us a shout. You never know, you might get invited through to Dalkeith. Let's be honest, most of us grew up watching Celtic in the late 70s. Speak for yourself, Gary. 80s and 90s, okay, when our European record wasn't much to write home about, so it's all about the 10 this year. Gary, it's a good point. I mean, the first person that said this to me, and it was a couple of years ago, was Neely Mockin. He said, all I'm interested in is 10 in a row, and the European adventures can wait until after that.
That's right. And listen, I know you're laughing there about the 60s and the 70s, but there's nothing wrong with that, Paul. That was some magic football back then. And you actually missed a good era. Even you're a lot younger as well when you're going into the late 80s and 90s when you started going to the Celtic games. But sorry, what was the question there?
Well, what Gary's saying, is that we went for a long spell without, really having the European football.
Yeah.
When you look at the Real Madrid game in 1980, right up to Martin O'Neill's time, and we couldn't progress beyond Christmas in Europe. So it's a good point that he makes, and I don't think, even with our proud heritage in Europe, one season we're focusing everything on 10 in a row.
No, but that's what we've been saying as well, that our goal is to get to that 10 league championships. Once we've reached that, then we plan for Europe and a field where we can really show how great Celtic is. A bigger field than the Scottish football. I'm not knocking Scottish football at all. Scottish football's great. I love it. But I think it's time for us now to look and develop the club in a bigger stage, which could be a European League or the English League. So let's see what happens there.
I'm massive on the English League, and I know that we've had a couple of really interesting guests on, Jim, talking about our proposed move to buy Wimbledon Football Club back in '98. I found that intriguing because we got a right good level of detail on the deal. We could have been playing in English football, just before Fergus McCann left.
Well, the person who was part of or who was instrumental in helping that deal, trying to make that deal come to fruition, when he would speak to me about it, I was even excited just listening to the story and disappointed that it never happened.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed because I would like to see us playing up there in an even playing field where you're getting the big prize money, where you're getting the best players in the world to come. Okay, you play in that stage, there's more money for different types of wages, and your merchandise becomes greater. The club becomes richer.
Oh, yeah.
The club, they're a great club at the moment, but it will become even greater. We're still going to go out there, get into the orchard, forget the barrel here, into the orchard.
I like that, Jim. I do like that, yes. Kevin Graham has clarified, yes, Neil Lennon said that Griffiths had a calf strain while looking completely unconvinced at his own excuse. Well, if he says he's got it, we've got to believe him. Let's not put any more pressure on Lee Griffiths because, my biggest concern is that he doesn't get back into this side. We need to get him playing football and quick.
But two good things there. Two fantastic things there. The manager protecting his player.
Yes.
How good is that?
Absolutely.
You never criticise your player out there in the open. If you get criticising to do it in the dressing room, and what's said in the dressing room stays in the dressing room. Let him and Lee Griffiths sort it out. But Neil's brilliant, excellent, and that's a togetherness that we've been talking about that we need. And I'm quite sure Bruni will be on him as well and having a wee word with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary, thank you very much for pointing out Sean Maloney. Sean Maloney started off as a striker, but he was up against Hearts and Larson and Sutton, and he made his name as an inside left under Strachan 4 years after his debut. So Sean Maloney, and what a player he was.
What a player, and he's turned out as well to be a good coach as well, eh?
Oh, he is, and very highly rated. I mean, when you look at where he is already in his development, it's a player I would like to get on the podcast.
Is he still? Oh, aye. Well, listen, think big, and that's what we do. Try and get whoever wants to come on. We'll look at him. You're more than welcome.
Absolutely.
He's with Belgium just now, isn't he?
Yeah.
So excellent. Well done, Sean. If you're listening.
Agree, we need to go bigger, but as long as Celtic Park doesn't turn into the Etihad, well, we do need to go bigger, and that, I guess, is one of the concerns, that you become this faceless brand, this entity down in English football, because I'm not actually a massive fan of English football. I'm a massive fan of Celtic, and I know that platform would be big enough for Celtic, what he's asking there, and I think, a lot of the people watching this will be thinking this as well. They don't want Celtic to be a tourist attraction.
No. Well, actually, Paul, sometimes there's nothing wrong with being a tourist attraction. If you go down to Manchester United, or you go to Chelsea, or you go to Arsenal, there's people come from all over the world to go and visit their stadiums. Celtic will never lose their identity because the Celtic supporters wouldn't allow it. So let's not get that mixed up with playing in a larger stage or a bigger platform. The Celtic people will not forget their history. They will not forget where the club started. They will still continue to teach other people about Celtic Football Club and how it's a club for everyone and welcome to everyone. So if we go to the next level, the next stage, everyone's welcome.
Absolutely.
Everybody's welcome at Celtic.
Everybody belongs here, Jim.
Everybody belongs here.
Daniel McAlpine, hi guys from South Africa. Hello, Daniel. Thanks for joining us. Keep joining us. I mean, it's a daily bulletin rather. Although we probably will take tomorrow off because we've got the game. 67 was my team. In jungle was my place. Hail, hail. Well, I remember the jungle myself, not as well as you, Jim, but I do remember the jungle and going in there. That was an experience in itself. We will be live streaming the game tomorrow. We won't be showing the footage, obviously, but we will have a team of pundits for every game this season. So join me tomorrow, 30 minutes before kick-off. Get involved in the discussion. We're all sitting on our phones watching the games, making comments. Just make them on our live stream and we can get some chat going. Keep the questions coming in. And we do have another one from Terry Monroe, 1967. Time to press for admission to the English League was straight after Heysel. Chance is gone now. Well, the chance at this moment in time, you're absolutely right, it has gone because it's not possible just now. But I think what we're looking at is we're looking at the aftermath of COVID. So, you know, what we've got here already this week is the Aberdeen fiasco when, you know, a number of players have proven positive for the COVID. So when you're looking at that, and I've said it yesterday and the day before, we may not even finish the fixtures this season, Jim.
You know, Paul, that would be disastrous for me personally because I'm looking forward to this season so much. Disappointed that we can't be along at Celtic Park in the away games this season, but the players, they've been out on the night out, they've moved to one place to another, and I actually think when I heard the interview with the manager, Eric McInnes, he was sincere that his players had done that. And it just shows you they've all got to be careful. And they've done it. And I know Nicola Sturgeon probably gave them a right hard time. And maybe rightly so, a lot of the viewers and listeners would say. But they've done it. What should happen to them? Should St Johnstone be awarded the 3 points? Should the game be replayed? I don't think anybody really knows, again, what to do. And we asked a question, since the new seasons have started all over Europe, is this the first game in Europe that's been postponed because of the COVID?
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for the St Johnstone players as well and other members of staff. But I think that's where Celtic will have the difference, that they won't go and do anything silly. The players, they'll be professional, they'll look after themselves and they'll look after each other with the leadership of Scott Brown again.
Bruni. Jason Christie, I think 10 in a row is ours to lose. If we keep the players we've got and bring in a defender, a goal scorer, and a tricky number 10, hail, hail. Well, that number 10, hail, hail, Jason, thanks for the comments. That number 10 we have discussed, obviously, you know, Thomas Rodgick, for example. Let's have a wee look at this weekend's game tomorrow. We will be covering it. From the lineup that faced Hamilton, I'll make one change. And what I would do is I would bench El Yunusi.
Yeah.
And I'd bring in Encham, which probably means that Christie needs to play out left. So that's the change I would make. I would have brought in Griffiths for the substitutes bench, but we've been informed that's not going to happen. What other changes, if any, would you make?
Well, I've got Encham and Eduardo up front. Again, when we spoke on the bulletin yesterday, my team hasn't changed since then. So it's been Frimpong, Julian, Aya, Taylor, Forrest, Brown, McGregor, Christie, Anchan and Edward up front. with the bench roughly the same as last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep the comments coming in. Thanks very much for getting involved. The Axon Bulletin will be with you all season as we head towards 10 in a row. Final word for Jason Christie. We salute you, Fergus McCann. I wouldn't argue with that, Jim.
Oh, I wouldn't argue with that at all. I wouldn't argue. Well done, Fergus. Maybe didn't get everything right, but all the things that he did get right, well done for that. Paul, obviously we had a wee discussion with the band member, Saul Davis from James.
Yes.
So everybody belongs here, which you just mentioned there, and I think it's a fantastic thing that he's doing, and try to bring everybody together, and hopefully we'll be doing some joint ventures with Saul Davis from James in the coming months. So if everybody tunes into yourself, and you could keep them updated on that.
Oh, yes, very exciting joint ventures as well, because I've had a wee insight into what Saul Davis is planning, so I'm sure you will all enjoy it. The only thing that's left for Jim Simonette and I to say is thank you all for joining us on A Celtic State of Mind.